Hi, cross training women. Today I am back with another Facebook Live, and I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite fitness topics and something that I am super adamant about when it comes to training, and that is good form. Good form or proper technique, mechanics, whatever you want to call it, is essential when training. Why? Because poor form or faulty mechanics is unsafe and will lead to injuries, and it's also counterproductive to your training. I became a stickler about form when I experienced knee pain, which I believe was predominantly caused by years of performing squats incorrectly. And despite being a collegiate athlete, I was actually never taught step by step how to do a squat properly. I was never coached individually or had someone correct me. And so the thing is, I thought I had good form. And even when I was in exercise classes post-college, I had instructors even call me out during class and compliment me when we were doing squats. And so my form didn't look terrible, but it was because, like I said, it was a big reason why I had knee pain. But even though having knee pain was a huge bummer at the time, I'm actually so grateful it happened because through my pain, I ended up seeing a physical therapist who ended up introducing me to a world-renowned PT and mobility guru, Dr. Kelly Starrett. And so I learned so much from him via his book, Becoming a Supple Leopard, the ultimate guide to resolving pain, preventing injury, and optimizing athletic performance. And so I just wanted to devour everything I could from him. So I listened to pretty much all his podcasts and online videos. And then through him as well, I discovered so many other top industry leaders who actually know what in the heck they are talking about when it comes to, proper technique, mechanics, how your body functions, how to screen movement and look for pain or dysfunction, how to progress and regress exercises for people, as well as just how to program workouts in general. So all that to say is, having studied a lot the last couple of years now, I'm competent in these areas and I'm passionate about teaching proper form and adamant that people focus on it. And here are the two primary reasons. So good form helps prevent injuries. Injuries are so common, and faulty mechanics is by far the biggest culprit. Only about 2% come from something serious going on in your body, like cancer or a catastrophic injury like a car accident. 98% comes from bad dysfunction or dysfunctional movement patterns or bad form. Bad form puts stress on your body and causes your body to compensate. So the other muscles who are synergists, meaning that they are not the main muscle group being worked, but they help assist, they start taking over, while the muscles that need to be or should be working to support the movement don't. So good form takes place when the right muscles are engaging. And this leads to the second reason you should focus on good form, and that is good form allows you to progress over time. When the right muscles are activating and you have good mechanics, you get the most out of the exercise. Your muscles will grow bigger, faster, and stronger as a result. And I believe that there are 6 main reasons why poor form happens. And the first is just discrepancies on what good form is. I like to compare this to nutrition. There's a lot of confusing and just misinformation out there. For example, it's been said and repeated over and over that your knees should never go past your toes in a squat. And that is completely false if you were doing a full range motion squat. Yet that's what many of us have been told to believe. The second reason is we care more about completing the reps or sets, and we have this get or done mentality. We don't care as much about what it looks like as long as it gets done, rather than maintaining proper form throughout the entire set or the workout. And so it gets sloppy and there's no real focus on the form. It's more of just going through the motions. And so that's a huge reason. 3 is unawareness of what your body actually looks like when doing it. So you might be thinking you're doing the exercise properly, like I was with my squat, until someone really points it out, or you get injured. Maybe you film yourself and you start to see like, oh, I thought my back was neutral, but really it was bent over, or I was hyperextended. So just unawareness of what your body looks like. And then number 4, then there's things like mobility restrictions. You don't have enough ankle mobility, which is another common issue, or motor control issues, or even things like bad breathing mechanics. Yes, I know, breathing is critical to posture and moving properly. I had no idea. I've learned a lot about breathing, but bad breathing patterns, which is honestly a lot of people, it leads to dysfunctional movement patterns, which leads to like stiffness and tightness and even pain and injuries because of bad breathing. That's what I thought. That's what I always thought about my knees with squats. Yes, that's what I did too. I know Katie thought that as well. So clearing some things up. Okay, number 5, I think we're on 5, is asymmetry between sides. So this is also another big reason why people get injured, is just muscle imbalances between your 2 sides. So it's really important to correct those. And then number 6 is ego. So doing more than your body is capable. Maybe this is more of an issue with guys than girls, but I think there's still some of that in us as well. So you might be able to execute with great technique doing body weight or just 10 pounds, but all of a sudden if you add 50 pounds to it or some more speed and power, then all of a sudden your body falls apart, you're put into a bad position, and your body starts compensating. So good form is a skill, and acquiring a skill first requires knowledge, so you have to know how to do it properly, and then it also requires a lot of practice. And there's always going to be some people who pick up a skill really quickly, but for a lot of people, you need to work hard in order to get it right. So don't get frustrated if you don't pick it up right away. I am still trying to master proper form. My form is not perfect on every exercise that I do, but it's always at the forefront of my mind when I train. So from this teaching, here's kind of the main takeaway. I want you to develop the mindset that anything that is not good form is opening up the gateway to injury and also hurting your progress. So focus on quality, not quantity. Pretend that each rep is the first. So every repetition that you do should look the same. So you want your last repetition to look exactly like the first. Otherwise, if you start out good and then you get sloppy over the set that you're doing, you're going to start to ingrain just in your brain your body to default to poor movement patterns. So you want to make sure that the last exercise or the last repetition that you do for that set is pristine. As Greg Cook, who's another renowned physical therapist and strength and conditioning coach, who talks about like hitting save on the document for your hardware, your software, your brain. So as soon as your form starts to get sloppy, you should stop that set. And then kind of like what I said before, a good way to check your form is to film your movements. And I would do it from the front, the side, and the back so that you get different angles. And this can reveal whether or not you have good form or any sort of faulty movement mechanics. However, of course, if you don't know what good form looks like, then it's going to be hard to kind of execute the movement properly, as well as to kind of evaluate whether or not you are able to achieve proper form. So that's why with my one-on-one coaching program, I encourage clients to send me in videos of them demonstrating their form of an exercise, so that way I can kind of critique and give them feedback on any adjustments that they need to make. And that's also why I start by having them do a video movement assessment before I build a program for them, so that way I can kind of see if there's any things that we need to work on, any asymmetries that we need to correct before doing certain lifts. But let me be clear, My goal in this video is not to scare you or make anyone hesitant about working out because you're afraid of getting injured due to bad form. Like I said, my form is not 100% perfect, and I still lift, and I still lift heavy. There's this kind of balance between paying zero attention and just being sloppy, and on the other hand, being like overly concerned with perfect technique. If I was so obsessed with perfect form, or if you are, we wouldn't be able to progress. So there are just like a few key things that I focus on and make sure that I'm doing in my exercises, like keeping a braced spine or a neutral spine and not letting my back round or hyperextend, as well as driving my knees out like in a squat and not letting my knees collapse or cave in, which is known as valgus knee. So I want you to know that there is some wiggle room to learn. Just remember to stick with the basics in the beginning. Mastering body weight, which again is relatively safe because you're not loading with heavy weights, so you're not going to be creating a ton of joint stress. And then when you become more proficient in the exercise, then you can start to challenge and progress by increasing the weight, the volume, or just the range of motion, and gradually do that over time. And plus, I highly recommend starting slow anyways, because then there's more room for growth and improvement. It really only takes a little adaptation for your body to be challenged and to progress. So I recommend starting slow anyways. So pay attention to form, but don't be scared and obsessed over it though either. And when in doubt, just ask for help. Get a coach who knows what they are talking about so that you can make sure that you're doing everything correctly. So I would love for you to leave a comment. Let me know if you learned anything. If you want to learn more about proper form, leave any sort of questions you have in the comments, and I will get back to you, or even possibly do another video on form and proper technique, depending on kind of the feedback and responses that I get. So thank you guys so much for joining. Michelle says, I've gotten a lot better about going slow so I can focus more on form. Same. I used to have kind of that complete it mentality, get it done, it doesn't matter what it looks like, but now I've completely changed my ways, and I'm all about form, and I will stop short of a set if all of a sudden I can't crank out the last rep or two with perfect form. So yeah, thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you guys liked today's video, and I will see you guys next Tuesday. Have a great rest of your day.